Hello again, Juzzlers, and welcome to an informational Juzz-tastic video. Today, we're going to be talking about aim. I had a question from one of my subscribers that said, how do I get better at aiming in Apoc? And well, that's why I made this video. As it turns out, I actually didn't have all of my settings optimized for my aim. You know, this video is going to feature a lot more in-game stuff than settings, but we're going to start off with some settings. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. I should preface this by saying, this is for Windows, at least these settings. If you can find similar settings in Apple or Linux, they should be a little bit similar to this when you look at your mouse settings. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to Bluetooth and Devices and select Mouse. Once you're in the mouse settings, navigate to Additional Mouse Settings after you make sure that everything looks good with your primary mouse buttons and stuff like that. You don't want to change these accidentally. These are pretty important. Once you've opened the mouse properties pop-up window, you want to head over to the pointer options tab and make sure enhanced pointer precision is toggled off. This will help with all of your games because you want to make sure that distance on your screen is the same as distance on your mouse pad. This was the setting I didn't have toggled, and I'm doing much better without it toggled. Alright, now that we have those settings out of the way, let's dive into the settings you should have on Apocalypse Rising and on Roblox in general, just to make sure your aim is even that little bit better. So to get to settings, just press your inventory button and go to the settings panel. And then look at the keys for certain things. And remember what those keys are, because things like sprinting can take you out of your ADS. Things like jumping can take you out of your ADS. Shoving accidentally can take you out. Hitting crouch when you don't mean to can throw off your aim. So just know what your controls are. Now this is the big one. Aim speed. Aim speed is Apocalypse Rising 2 controlling what your aim speed is. Now, there is also a separate aim speed, the camera sensitivity. I have mine set to 0.36. I don't know why, it just kind of is. It's the first little pip there. If your aim is like this, like where I can move around like crazy or whatever, this is too fast. Because yeah, I can get from here, oh, I'm all the way over here, oh, no. But the problem is when it comes to like target acquisition here, look at that. It takes me so long to get up to this wheel and know what's going on. Whereas, you know, because I'm used to it, if I go back to just the one little pip here, I can zoom in and whoop, I'm there. Or I'm running around, whoop, I'm at the wheel. Or, oh, bang, headlight. Something like that. Just wanted to throw in here, the same thing is true for lower mouse speeds. If your mouse is too slow, then you're going to be shoving everything off of your desk because you won't be able to get your hand around fast enough when you want to flick onto something. Also, let me know if I should buy this shirt. Genuinely, I'm thinking about buying it. It's a lot about consistency, and in the end, if you do want a crazy high mouse sensitivity, then you know what, that's on you. But the main thing is to keep it consistent, and that honestly could be, if you get only one tip from this video, try to keep over all of the different video games you play a consistent mouse speed. You can use some online tools if you play a bunch of different games. Where Roblox fits into that, I'm not sure, and I'm especially not sure once we introduce this first-person aim speed, because this is completely arbitrary to Apoc, I'm pretty sure. Another thing really quick I do want to touch on is the FOV. The FOV is going to make it just much easier to see your targets. So if I have my FOV all the way at 40, I mean, yeah, this is really cinematic and all, but like, you know, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get my camera in the door. Okay, got the camera in the door. Look at what I can see here, right? I can maybe get the right side or the left side of that table on the right. I go to settings. I turn my FOV all the way up. I have half the room. Now I have half the room. This is a huge deal. And, you know, whether or not you want to talk about how your aim is impacted, your gameplay is going to be impacted, and, you know, you can't aim at something you can't see. So just turn it up, you know, just turn it up. Some of these other settings are a little bit interesting, like action auto zooming. I don't really know what that does. And then the aim view changing, I also just don't really know what that does. I'm sure someone does, and, you know, is going to send it down to the comments or something like that. I just don't know. Some other things that will help your aim just to be less laggy are things like game quality. Then also in your Roblox settings, you know, if it's difficult for you to aim or you're not getting a ton of frames, you can go in here and go to graphics quality. The first 3 pips you can do without losing any quality, I think. But after 3, you're going to start losing distance. Like, you see this? And that's, you know, how am I going to see someone over here if I can't see the game? You know what I mean? So that's not You're just nerfing yourself right there. It's just kind of ridiculous. I go all the way up. Most computers can handle Apocalypse Rising. I would suggest doing that. Okay, I've hopped into a custom game here with some subscribers, and I'm just gonna show you what I'm talking about with a few of these points. So we'll talk about common aiming techniques first. So that we'll do this in the same way as we will the structure of this whole video. We'll talk about long range ones first. So the first one's gonna be predicting drop and micro adjustments to your aim. So do you see how he's jumping around and it's kind of hard for me to hit him like this? This is called tracking, and this is really, really long range tracking, but still. Now a micro adjustment is if he's standing still right here and I initially scope in and my aim is way off to the side, I need to make an adjustment to get on or above his head. If I'm all the way over here, I can't just swing my arm or my whole wrist over here on my mouse pad. I have to use kind of my finger movement, like a really small fine motor movement of my fingers to get it over there, which is different than how, you're going to be playing at short range, which is by swinging the whole mouse around. So that's something to practice, is just a little bit of tracking. And you'll notice too that I'm strafing back and forth while I'm doing this. This makes it just harder for them to hit me. It does make it a little bit harder for me to aim, but even still, I would suggest strafing and getting used to strafing in almost every game you play, because it's not making you that much more inaccurate. And the only time you're really going to be going for something like a crouched, not moving shot is like a pop shot, or if you're pretty sure they're a goober and they're not even aiming at you or something, just like this. Like if I wanted to spray at this person right here, I can see that he's drinking water. I don't need to be running around and jumping and stuff. I can just crouch, spray him like this, and that's it. Okay, now we'll talk a little bit about bullet drop. I'll put in a few examples and stuff. When I'm aiming, the bullet is going to fall while it's in the air. And it's not very noticeable here, but if I'm aiming at the level of his head right here, I'm going to hit him in the shoulder. And you might say, well, hang on, that doesn't make any sense. Your crosshair is on his head. How's it hitting him in the shoulder there? Or it's parallel with his head, just because I don't want to kill him right now. Well, the bullet is falling about one of those ticks right there. And so if I see that, I'll say, okay, I don't want to aim for his head with the center line right here. I want to go about a tick down so that when I do shoot at him, like right here, if I was aiming at his head, it would have actually hit his head in the same sense that it didn't hit his shoulder just now. All right, we're just going to watch some footage here. This one's a really simple one. He's sitting still, so I'm taking a crouching shot, no strafing. Now with this one, we're going to watch it a couple times. It's a beam. I missed the first two, and I get the last one. But you have to look at how far in front of the dude's head I was. This is what I'm talking about with bullet drop. Sometimes you're really, really going to have to be out in front. This is another really nice series of shots with the Dragunov. But look at how high I'm aiming, and I'm still hitting his chest or his arm in the case of the 15. And then on this last shot, I'm aiming at his chest, and look, it hits his legs. Okay, we'll go back to medium range just for some other stuff that I was talking about. So the first one's just going to be recoil control. We're going to actually talk about recoil control and what the recoil of common guns looks like. So this is an M2. So what we're going to do to test the actual recoil out is we're going to just stay at hip level here, walk a few meters back. This is a pretty common engagement distance, and just hold down the trigger. My mouse is off the mouse pad. We hold down the trigger for a really long spray. Look at that. Straight up in the air. Let's put on the foul. Let's see what this does. Straight up in the air. Just straight up. And now let's take something like a beginner level gun, the grease gun. I think I'm standing a little bit closer. Hang on, let's see. Look at that, straight up in the air. There are some games that have predetermined spray patterns. Apoc 2 is not one of those games, and even if it did, it's just straight up in the air. So all you have to do to get your shots to try to land in one place is just to pull down. See that? That's a pretty tight group. Now it's going to be much, much harder at range. And to back that up, I guess I'll shoot one time there. All right, we see it. Pretty voluminous burst, but I can't even tell which one the original was. They're all scattered around here. That's about someone's chest, right? So that's what it's all about. It's just about pulling down. Now, when it gets harder is if someone's going from side to side. And I don't have anyone to show me that today, but let's imagine this line is someone's path of motion, right? So let's get on this line. I'm out of ammo, but look at that. It's tough, you know. But look, if you I'm pulling down. Keep in mind, I'm pulling down all through here. I'm not just moving my mouse to the side. If I was doing this without firing, it would not look like this. Remember that. It would look like this. Or, you know, maybe even more drastically, it would look like this. I mean, I am pulling down hard to make sure that, you know, my rounds are lining up all over this line. Don't let the gun get out from underneath you, you know what I mean? So that's a quick note on recoil control. Back to Juz in the studio once again. A quick Juz note I wanted to add here, you've got to practice. To get better at aiming, you have to practice. You can't just watch this video. You've got to get in and actually shoot the guns, you know, play the game. I also wanted to add a quick note about burst firing. Burst firing is a great way to save ammo and make sure that your sight picture isn't getting away from you. It's much better than full auto spraying, especially at long ranges. Alright, here's an example of me crouching and just spraying and getting a kill. There's no jumping around. I just crouch, focus on recoil control, get the kill. Now, on this M2, I have a short foregrip and an operator suppressor. So as you can see in their stats, the short foregrip has a significant decrease to recoil, and the operator suppressor has a small decrease to recoil. So what that means is if I use them both standing at the same distance to this wall right here, and I do my best to pull down and keep all of the bullets hitting a single place, it's going to be much easier to do that. Like that. Now if I take both of these off, and I go like a foot to the side, you can see it jumps right up right away. And it's way harder for me to pull it back down. But you will notice too that there are some other things that I don't like about suppressors, and why in some of my recent videos I haven't been using them on some guns. If you look at the Special Forces suppressor, there's a slight decrease to aim speed. And if you look at the operator suppressor, there's a moderate decrease to aim speed. So there are ups and downs to using attachments like this. On things like the short foregrip, there are no downsides to having these foregrips on your rifles. So if I put the short foregrip on now, and I go and I aim at the wall, there's still way less of a jump. It's not the same as our first test with the operator suppressor. I mean, the bullet holes aren't really showing here, but still. I guess they're showing there, but they're very faint. It's not the same, right? It's a little bit different, but still, because I'm able to scope in much faster, I kind of like it more. Whereas if I put this onto my M2, you can see, I mean, my character in game takes a long time getting that rifle up to his face. So that's just a little bit about recoil control. Recoil control is pretty, you know, pretty important in the game. At Hipfire, it's gonna be way less manageable. Basically, it's gonna be keep the center of this dot. I mean, it'll kind of show if I am at the ground. Keep the center of your crosshair on the person's center of mass. So while I'm jumping around and stuff right here, I'm keeping my crosshair over his center of mass. Or, you know, if a gun is like has a small enough window, I can kind of keep it over his head if I really want to get the best time to kill. Now, you'll notice, though, that while I sprint, I have the biggest crosshair. And so that means that I'm most inaccurate when I'm sprinting. Now, for some reason, when I jump, it doesn't go way up. In fact, when I sprint, it's way bigger. But when I sprint and then jump, it actually goes down. So the best hipfire accuracy you can have is if you're crouching or standing. And then also when you're walking. So walking is still a good idea even when you're trying to just hipfire someone. But then, if you're sprinting around and jumping, it's going to be way harder for them to hit you. So it's very hard for me also while strafing to be able to keep my, you know, center of my crosshair over his center of mass. But this is a really good like drill, or you need to practice doing stuff like this. Doing stuff like this though with your friends in practice drills and kind of just jumping around each other and practicing, you know, with the aim setting that we talked about earlier and having the DPI on your mouse set always the same. It's going to be really beneficial if you practice doing this. When I played other games all the time, I would go in practice ranges that were designed for the games that would have drills like this setup that you could do alone. Unfortunately, you know, Apoc 2 is a Roblox game and it doesn't have tools like that. But still, having people you can play with is great, and if you join the Discord server, I'm sure someone would be happy to do it with you. Shout out Quickshot Juz Discord server.
Okay.
What the f*** is happening? What the heck? This is going to be a clip of ADSing while shooting, and it's a great strategy to implement to kill someone while you're in, you know, like a close range battle. This next clip is really confusing. Keep in mind the Santa person is a friend. This is a precursor video to the Jusmus event. But just keep in mind, I did some things wrong here, and I did do some things right. Right here. My reaction time was really good spraying there, and I think to ADS there would have been a better idea. So that was a bit of a shame. Right there, also, probably would have been a good idea to ADS, but it was right for me to even, try to hit him still. And here, this is just a well-timed push. I got a call out that this guy was one, and I pushed. There's a little bit of a pre-fire, and then the kill. Pre-fires are good if you think someone's going to peek out from a certain angle, and are really useful if you're low on health. This next clip, and I'm sorry for all these clips being in the same hallway, is an example of how a strafe probably saved my life. You can see I beamed this guy here, and then me going to the right there made the elf shoot to where I was on the left. This is a prime example of a quickshot Juz gunfight loss right here. I just should have ADS'd. I probably ended up hitting that icicle in front of me like 4 times, but oh well. This next clip is kind of ridiculous. I dropped down on this guy because he thought he was way closer to the door. Terrible idea. I had no health. But the M3 actually has really good hipfire accuracy, and I kind of managed to just kill him? Oh, we can talk a little bit about target switching or flicking. So this is going to be a combination of the recoil control stuff we talked about and the much bigger hand movements that actually take my mouse across my desk. So if I'm scoped in on TZ here, let's say I'm spraying him because he just ran up to me, and then wait, all of a sudden I've got Helios and Blaze here that I need to go to. I can't just slowly move my crosshair onto them and line up the headshot. If they're already scoped in on me, I have to quickly kill TZ, and then boom, I have to switch over as close as I can get to these two. It's gonna be much harder to do that. And okay, he's taking his stuff off. Anyway, do you see? This is gonna be much harder because now not only do I have to go from here to here, I would eventually have to turn all the way around and get to TZ. So this is just a gunfight that I would say, don't take. If you're surrounded like this, it's much easier to win 3 1v1s than 1 1v3. But keeping that in mind, let's say TZ's pushing me and I have to push out here, and all of a sudden I have 2 targets. So let's say Mr. in the pink here is aimed in on me first. I would try to kill him, and then I would have to switch all the way over here. Now it makes much more sense for me to scope in here, get the kill, unscope, do like a little counter strafe thing just where I'm running around, kill, unscope, and then move in like this. It makes much less sense for me to do this because you can't jump while scoped in either. Sometimes adding in a jump there is good for evasion, and then scoping in. Right? Now let's pull the trooper out just because I ran out of ammo. I love the trooper's iron sights, by the way. This is a really fun gun. Anyway, let's say TZ's behind me now. So what I'll do here is I'll get the kill like this, I'll unscope, and then I'll scope in. And this also, it really just takes practice. You're not going to know exactly where you're scoping in all the time. It's going to be very hard to just know, oh, okay, I'm locked in on his head now. Or, oh, okay, I'm back here, I'm aiming center mass because he's kind of close to me and I want to get the kill. Or, there we go, I'm center mass. It's just practice. It really is. You're going to need to put time into getting better at the game. Really quick, here's a spray transfer where I really don't have to un-ADS. I kill one and then just while I'm shooting, spray to the other one. Practice. Just practice with guns that you might have never seen before. The trooper is super rare. If I never use it, I'm going to kind of get cold feet when it comes to using it in the game. Get in the practice range. See what it feels like to scope in, and spray it, and hip-fire your friends, and ouch, hit one of them with it. Just see what it feels like, you know what I mean? Something like the operator. It's really rare, but if you never use it, how are you going to know what happens when you pick it up in game, especially if you pick it up off someone's body and you're low on ammo. Maybe if you've never used an M60. The M60 is a really big, heavy gun. It's going to have a way different ADS time than the guns that you're used to picking up when you first spawn in game. Get used to using a Mac 10, and it's kind of a gigantic spray pattern. Just get used to it, Those are all my practice range tips for you guys. Hopefully this helped out. Now back to Juz in the studio. All right, these next clips are just going to be classic ones. See if you can identify, where I make mistakes and what tricks I'm using when I get in these gunfights. Got one. The Santa's hit for a few.
I'm passing jump right now.
Got Santa. That's Santa
nice.
down.
Nice.
Dead.
Oh, is there another one?
There's a guy on me.
Dude who's
He's
yelling like easy or something.
Yeah, it's a snub, bro.
He's so dead.
Well, join up quick, cause Sharp, Sharpest Soldier.
What?
Anyways, Juzzlers, I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I also hope that you learned something from it. Maybe it was only one little thing if you've been playing the game for a while, or maybe you learned not to do something. But if you learned a lot from this video, it would mean a lot if you liked the video, subscribed, gave a comment, and shared your feelings down below. Or if you didn't learn anything and I was wrong, also comment to let me know so that I can put out a post amending what I just said. Anyways, hopefully the next time you'll be seeing me is on the new map. Don't forget to join the Discord. We might be doing an event when that releases. Love you all. Stay farty. Peace out.